You know how you'll jump on a new app in a heartbeat, but maybe your friend or your parents, they just won't touch it? Well, today we're getting into that exact puzzle. What makes us click on new tech or quit before we even start? We're going to use online banking to figure it all out.
It's a huge question, right? Is it something wrong with the technology itself, or is it something about us? By taking a deep dive into online banking, we're going to uncover some of those hidden drivers behind the choices we make every single day.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the puzzle itself, introduce a couple of key theories, see how they can be combined to build a better model, check out the surprising results, and then, most importantly, figure out what this all means for you.
Okay, so we're jumping into a study from 2014 that looked at the Indian market. Researchers noticed something kind of weird. Online banking was offering all these great benefits, but a ton of people just weren't using it, and they really wanted to know why.
I mean, this quote from the researchers just nails it. The whole promise was freedom, right? No more rushing to the bank before it closes. The convenience seems like a no-brainer. But a lot of people were still sticking with the old way of doing things. And that gap between the promise and the reality is exactly the puzzle they set out to solve.
All right, so to crack this puzzle, the researchers didn't just start from scratch. They reached for a couple of really powerful ideas that help explain how we, as humans, decide whether or not to get on board with new tech. The first idea is called the Technology Acceptance Model, or TAM for short, and it's actually beautiful in its simplicity. It says your choice to use something new really comes down to two big questions. First, perceived usefulness. Is this thing actually going to help me get something done? And second, perceived ease of use. Basically, can I use this without wanting to throw my computer out the window?
But here's the thing. Usefulness and ease of use, that's not the whole story. TAM is great for explaining the what of the technology, but it kind of misses the who, us. It doesn't really consider our own personalities. And that's where the second big idea, technology readiness, comes into play. It's all about our personal mindset, that internal tug-of-war between positive feelings, like being optimistic, and the negative ones, like feeling insecure or uncomfortable.
And this model gives us these awesome user profiles. You've got your explorers on one end. They're the people camping out for the new phone. Then you have pioneers and skeptics. And I love this one, the paranoids. They're fascinated by the new tech, but also super worried about it. And finally, you have the laggards, who only get on board when they absolutely have to.
So just for a second, think about it. Which one sounds like you? When a new gadget comes out, what's your gut reaction? Because figuring out where you fit is the first step to understanding this whole thing.
So the researchers had these two pieces of the puzzle, the technology's features on one side and our personalities on the other. They knew that to get a real answer, they couldn't just use one. They had to snap them together. And that led them to create what they called the Comprehensive Internet Banking Acceptance Model. It's basically a mashup of everything we just talked about. It takes usefulness and ease of use from TAM, it pulls in the personality types from technology readiness, and then it adds in other really important stuff like our background and, of course, trust.
All right, so this is where it gets really interesting. The researchers took this new supermodel and tested it on 131 people in India, a mix of students and professionals. So, what did they actually find? Well, the results showed some incredibly clear patterns.
One of the first things that just popped right out was a big difference between men and women. For the men in the study, the decision was almost always driven by usefulness. Their bottom line question was, what's in it for me? What are the benefits? But for the women, the number one factor was ease of use. Their main question was more like, how easy is this thing to actually use? And you know what's wild? They found almost the exact same pattern when they looked at age. The younger folks, under 25, were all about the benefits. What can this do for me? But when they looked at the older users, over 46, the conversation shifted completely. It was all about simplicity and how easy the system was to figure out. Now, when they looked at the tech personalities in their group, the split was amazing. It was almost a perfect three-way split. About a third were innovators, a third were pioneers, and a third were laggards. This is huge because it tells us they were working with a really balanced group of people with totally different attitudes toward tech.
So if we boil it all down, here's the deal. It's not just one thing. Usefulness and ease of use are both absolutely critical, but which one is more important depends on who you are. Trust in the bank itself That was a massive factor. And your tech personality really matters. Innovators want to know what it does, while laggards need to know it's simple. And maybe the biggest surprise, for this group, the actual quality of their internet connection didn't really seem to be a major roadblock.
Okay, so this is all really cool research, but what's the point? Let's bring it all back home. What does this mean for any company or any developer who's trying to get us to actually use the stuff they build?
Well, this study pretty much hands us a playbook. If you're trying to reach younger users and men, your message has to be all about the benefits, how it saves time, money, and hassle. If you're talking to women or older users, forget the bells and whistles. Focus on simplicity, user-friendly design, clear instructions. And for everyone, you have to build trust. Show them it's secure. But the biggest lesson is to stop the one-size-fits-all approach. You need one message for the innovators and a totally different one to get the laggards to finally come around. So I'll just leave you with this thought. The next time you download a new app or decide to completely ignore one, just ask yourself why. Was it the cool new features? Was it how simple it looked? Or was that your inner tech personality, your inner explorer or laggard, making the call? Figuring that out is pretty powerful.